are you doing today, Tyron?
Yeah, how y'all doing?
Good, thanks. Tyron, where are you in your health, and how good does it feel to have made the progress you have the last year?
This injury it sucks to say, but it came at a good time last year when just finally not a good time, but it was just, it finally gave out. My neck did, and it finally got fixed. So it's no longer a lingering injury or something I have to worry about. It feels fine right now. It feels great. Strength is back, and it feels better than it did before. So that's a good sign.
Can you describe the feeling that you had the last few years with this thing and what it prevented you from doing, even when you were playing games?
For me, it was just one of those injuries where it was a stinger here and there, and I started losing strength in my left arm. And once that started happening, then we had to take a deeper look into it, and it was an issue that we had to fix. And then once it got fixed, after some rehab, some recovery, got back to working out, and it's stronger than it was before. So.
How long were you dealing with that for? Can you trace back to when it first started?
It's been an issue pretty much ever since I've been playing ball. Ever since I got that first stinger way back when I first started, and ever since I've been here, it just started getting worse and worse as I got older. Didn't know how bad it was until we actually went in, and I'm just glad it caught it in time.
Was that connected to the back issues?
When you're dealing with like a neck or a spine, everything's all connected. So once that got fixed, everything kind of released and kind of started feeling more mobility.
Did your off-season training change at all? Are you still doing yoga? Do anything differently now?
For me, my off-season training, I'm like pretty much the whole off-season I was here working out with the guys, and for me, I do outside PT work or any kind of extra stretch or anything like that, and it's just little extra things I added onto my routine. So I'm still a little more busier than I usually am, but it's all for a good cause.
Were you reluctant to have the surgery sooner? Was it a possibility you could have had this before last fall, whenever you did have it?
We all discussed it, and it was at the time we did the surgery, it was the right time to do it.
What did it mean to have guys like Dak and Lael here when you were rehabbing, and what was the camaraderie like among y'all when you had so many injured players?
It sucks for all of us to be out or have any kind of injuries, but the off season we were all here together pushing each other, so it's good to have guys that push you to get better, and we all knew we had to get done this year, and so it was good having them right by my side, pushing me and pushing them, and so it's been good.
I don't know if you heard, when you were injured, people were speculating about how much longer can you play. Well, now that you're healthy, how much longer can you play? Do you want to play?
For me, it's always been until the wheels fall off, and I'm gonna keep going until I can't no more. So I can't give you guys a time estimate or anything like that, but I'm gonna go as long as I can.
How hard were we to watch?
Huh?
I'm sorry. How hard was that to watch last year?
It sucked. It was miserable. Never sat out a year like that. It was frustrating. But I was around much as I could be to help out where I could. But other than that, it sucked. But it also drove me to be better this year and make sure I could be on the field as much as I can for my teammates.
How much does that drive the three of you guys, Lael and Zach as well, as you guys miss so much time?
Honestly just push us to be better and just know that what we have to get done.
At what point in the offseason did you feel like, I'm okay now, I'm better than ever before? Was it lifting? Was it something simple?
Well, for me, once the surgery had calmed down and once all that stuff healed up, I started feeling like a huge relief, started being able to move my neck around a lot more than I usually can. And it was like right away, started feeling like a huge relief. And then once I started lifting and started really feeling my strength really coming back, it was like towards the end of the season, I started feeling some kind of strength.
In the final game that you played last season, week 4, you played every single snap of that game. And those 82 snaps, I imagine that they were easy for you. What was that game like, you battling through it and not taking any plays off?
For me, I wasn't trying to think too much about the injury, just kind of do my part for my teammates, and I was battling the injury like anybody else would, and worry about the consequences afterwards. That's the way my mentality was for that game, and to try to be on the field as much as possible.
Did you know during that game that the way your neck was feeling, the way your arm was feeling, that game could be your last?
Wasn't thinking that much about it. I knew my neck and my arm wasn't feeling 100%, but I told him I was going to push through no matter what. And when he got checked out after the game, it is what it was.
You closely observe Dak during his rehab as you were participating in your own. What impression did he create in your mind during that process, and what are you seeing from him now in that regard?
Say it again?
You got to observe Dak rehabbing and coming back from his season-ending injury because you were doing the same thing. What impression did he make? What did you learn about him maybe through that period of time that you didn't know?
For me, the way Dak worked throughout the whole offseason, the way he pushed himself, and the way he came back and is able to be on the field with everybody else right now, it's amazing. It lights a fighter under you to hey, push a little bit more harder. If your quarterback's gonna push like that, you got to push the same way or even harder for him. And it motivates. It's very motivational for that kid to do what he does.
Tyron, Coach McCarthy said that in the past couple of weeks he's seen you more smiley than he had seen you since he got here, or than he knew you could be. Would you agree with that assessment? And if so, where is that coming from?
For me, I'm just honestly just happy to be back. You take it for granted until you're actually out for a year. Not able to help your teammates out, but once you're around in your group, it feels good to be back and feel good. You feel good to be around your teammates, and so you can't help but to be happy. You can't be happy about playing football.
What have you seen from Zeke so far this offseason? Same Zeke, a little bit different, a little bit more motivated?
Zeke comes every offseason motivated, and he works hard every offseason. For him, ever since he's been here, he gets better and better every year. From what I see, and he comes with the same drive, same attitude, and he comes to get better. And so that's pretty much it.
Tyron, Jackson's old enough to understand what's going on in a lot of your career. What was he saying to you while you were out, and what does it mean to him now that Dad's back and getting ready to play?
I'll be honest with you. I hate scaring my son like that with that injury I had last year. But he understood, but he also was, pretty scared. But it's also we had a trip in Costa Rica. It was kind of happy to see me jumping around, running around, jumping in the pool and everything like that. So he understands. He understands the game. He fully understands injuries happen, and he likes seeing me back strong enough to be able to throw him back in the pool. So.
You said you took it a little bit for granted. I mean, because anybody does until something's taken away from you. What did you miss the most when you got back here to this facility and you got here in minicamp? And there does feel like there's a little bit of a different energy. Maybe it's because so many of you had to sit out last year because of injury.
For me, it's just being around the guys, being around my teammates, being around the coaches. It's being around this type of environment. They create a great environment for us where we all get along and we enjoy being around each other. And that thing is, I miss being having that and being on the field with my guys. And it's a family, and so you miss being around your family. So that's pretty much what it is.
You, Lyle, and Zach have done a lot of strength and conditioning to the side this spring. What's the objective of that work that you guys are doing, and how do you feel it's come along in terms of the strides that you've made?
We're just listening to the program they have set for us right now, and I'm sure we're going to get more revved up in training camp as it comes along, and so just pretty much listen to the instructions they give us, and then we follow along with it.
Tyron, you were talking about being around the guys. How is the dynamic in the O-line room different now without Joe Looney, and then having a young guy like Tyler who will enter the season with a bigger role?
No, for our room, we stay pretty tight no matter who comes and goes. We're always a different type of group. We always going to try to push each other, and for us, we try to prove our work ethic, for our teammates. And I don't know, we like I said, we're just a tight group, no matter who comes and goes.
What differences have you seen in Tyler Biotish in his second year as center, be it command or otherwise?
With Tyler, he's growing quick. Ever since his first year, he came with a mature attitude and very high energy, and we love it. And he's taking the role of being the center, and he's learning quick. You would think the kid has been playing for 4 years.
Is there any elements about him and approach or otherwise that remind you of Travis? I hear a lot of people say that he reminds them of Travis. Is that for you too?
You say he reminds you of Travis, but he's a completely different player. Every player is, and every player's unique in his own way. And so I think the same thing of him.
And any part of you said, "Wow," and then year 11.
I know how it feels when people say you're 11 now. So just for me, just can't think too much about it. You got to think as if you're still a young guy. You continue thinking that you're an older guy, you're going to be an old guy. And so I try to think a young mentality. That's why I come around laughing, joking around. And I don't know, it's kind of, I don't want to be thinking I'm old and almost done or anything like that.
You're still just 30. You're not old.
Thanks, Tyron. Thanks.